What's up, guys? Back again with another episode of Things of Interest. Yeah, so I guess this is just an easy way for me to be lazy and cop out and make new content for the channel without actually getting out of the house. So, let's just get right into it. I've picked up a few things since the last episode. Also have an update for you on something that I talked about in that episode, and that is my hatred towards the M65 Pro, a gaming mouse from Corsair. So I talked about how terrible this thing was at the time of the making of that video. I'd only been using it for maybe a couple of days at most, and I'm happy to say I have adjusted to it, and it no longer bothers me as much. Who cares? Alright, so let's get on with it. So I think I mentioned in the last video that I went through a phase a while ago when I was younger and would sell stuff to buy new stuff, right? Blah 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 blah. So I've been in the phase now where the last couple of years, when I can, I try to buy back some of that stuff that I sold off, right? Because I'm kicking myself in the ass for selling it, because I would like to have it now, and I wish I would have really thought that through at the time. So one thing I wish I would have never sold was my PS2, the fat version, the original version, the release version, blah 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 blah. And I don't know why I sold that. Like, I just don't get it, because I was a huge fan of the PlayStation 2. This is a console that has probably the largest game library of any console of, like, all time. It's just, that doesn't mean they're all good, because there's a lot of crap. A lot of crap for this console, as with most consoles. But man, there was some great games for this console. Terrific games. The first Kingdom Hearts game came out on the PlayStation 2. I think. Pretty sure. Go run to Wikipedia to check my my historical knowledge there on that. Just don't trust what they say. So, anyway. So I got me one of these, found it on eBay for a really good price. I haven't tested it, but so here's the story about the history of my experience with the PlayStation 2. It's not really a story, it's like an anecdote or anecdote. It's not an antidote, obviously. God. So, like I said, I sold my original one that I had bought, and I ended up buying another one probably less than a year later, but it was a Slim at the time. They had redesigned it. You all know what it looks like. They're everywhere. And so I had that one. It was a black one. And I had it for probably, I don't know. I mean, I had it for a while, and it stopped working. So I ended up buying another one. Alright, I bought a silver one this time, thinking, hey, this gotta work for longer than that black one did. Anyway, so I bought another one. So I have purchased at full price 3 PlayStation 2s, and now I've went back and bought a used Fat Boy here. I don't know if we actually do we call these Fat Boys? I know we call the original PS3s Fat Boys, but I don't know if that goes along with the PlayStation 2. What made this one super popular was there was a format war going on at the time, if you remember. Was it a format? It wasn't really a war. It wasn't like Blu-ray and HD DVD. But DVD, Sony was pushing, I believe DVD was Sony's format originally, right? So they're pushing it really, really hard. And the big plus for PlayStation 2 was that it was a DVD player. The games were on DVD, except for, like, if you have a disc that's like a deep blue or dark purple or something, that's actually still a CD-ROM. But this is a DVD player, and it was, at the time, that was a brand new format. if you can remember, I know this has been a long time ago, but that's because hell, that's DVDs are yesterday's news now. DVD players were crazy expensive. Crazy expensive. I mean, they had to have been $300-400 because this was at the time the cheapest DVD player on the market. So a lot of people bought a PS2 strictly to watch DVDs. So that's part of the reason that helped it become one of the best-selling game consoles of all time, just because of that. But Sony was smart for doing that. I mean, you can't blame them there. Got it in people's households. People probably ended up buying some games for it. Yeah, we'll talk about that some other time. So, speaking of the PS2, I guess I can talk about a game that I picked up. I picked up more than this, but this one I kind of want to highlight a little bit. One of my favorite game series of all time is the Gran Turismo series, and well, I'm thinking about making an actual video dedicated to Gran Turismo, just Gran Turismo, but we'll brush on this. This is Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec. Now, this is the red cover. There was... Do I have it? No. Probably sold it. God, anyway, so this version came with the Gran Turismo bundle, where you got the console and the game, Gran Turismo 3. And it was a red box, and this one came in a red cover if it came with that combo, right? So I found this, and I thought this was pretty cool because this is the one that would have came with that combo. So that's pretty cool. It's the same game, it's just that they made a special cover for that release. So that's cool. Gran Turismo 3 is great. Honestly, man, that's probably one of my favorites of the series. Gran Turismo 4 was also a fantastic game. It's got a GameStop sticker on it. I didn't buy it at GameStop, obviously. GameStop sucks. Let me see if this is a DVD. Yeah, it's DVD. So your DVDs will look like, well, what a DVD. Everyone knows what a DVD looks like, but the back of it, if I can even get it out of here. Okay, so let's talk about a flaw of the PS2 cases. So, like, where the disc sits in here, like, you would think they would have a recess for your finger to get into one of these grooves, right? No, nope. All right, just drop it. Man, I'm one of the best collectors there is. So DVDs will look like that. But there are some releases, I don't know any off the top of my head, but I know they exist, where they came out on CD-ROM, and your CD-ROMs will look like Final Fantasy VII, but one of the best games of all time, in my opinion, will look like that. But they'll have a more purplish hue to them. But it'll be a PlayStation 2 disc, but it'll look like that. It's weird. It's a CD-ROM on the PlayStation 2. Okay, now that I'm boring everybody and no one's watching anymore, let's move on. Let's see. One of my favorite movies growing up as a kid, and I bought it in hopes that I could watch it with the family. I doubt that's going to happen. I mean, we'll start it, but they'll all wander off in the first 5 minutes, probably, and want to watch their tablets or phones or whatever. The Cat from Outer Space. Does anyone else like this movie? Am I the only one that likes this movie? This is a fantastic movie. God, great movie. Now, I haven't seen it in 30 years. So maybe it's not as good as I remember. You know, kind of like Short Circuit. That movie does not hold up well. I don't care. It does not hold up well. You could still watch it for some laughs, but man, it's rough. Great movie, 1978. Disney. Look it up. Let's see here. We can get off the electronic for a second. So, I'm a huge Dale Earnhardt Jr. fan. Still am. I'm glad he's in the broadcast booth. Keeps all of us, at least there's something there. He's still, whatever. No one cares, I know. I'll shut up about it. But, I love collecting die-casts. And I finally got my hands on the Father's Day die-cast he ran in 2006. And this is one of my favorite paint schemes he ran of his entire career. So he ran his grandfather's font, because he ran his grandfather's number 8. But the font was the font that his grandfather ran, the color of the car itself. And Budweiser, who was his sponsor at the time, brought back their old school logos and fonts from the 50s, I believe. So it's got the old school Budweiser bow tie. And this is a collector's grade diecast. I have some of the Walmart specials, but they're not as cool. And plus, I can afford these now. Like, when I was collecting them when I was younger, like a kid, I could barely afford a 1/64th Winter Circle from Walmart, let alone a collector's grade model car in 124 scale. And what's cool and what's so detailed about this one is, like, so they actually hand painted this. Like, all the cars now are wraps. But they hand painted this car, and like, you're not going to be able to tell on camera, but on the number, you can actually see like brush strokes in it. It's crazy. It's so cool. You're not going to be able to see it, but this is it made me very happy to be able to find this for a really decent price, because it's one of 508 made in the entire world. Oh man, I'm special. I would love to have just gobs of these things, and that's the plan, and someday I will. But I'm not into paying out the rear end for them either, so I'm really patient. I try to be patient for the most part, and I try to get them for a decent price, win auctions and stuff, and I won't pay too much for them. I got a really good price on that. Alright, moving on. So how is everybody doing? You have a good week? Have a good month? You sick of the rain? At least it's not cold anymore. It's been like a really mild summer. And I shouldn't even be complaining about that, because it's like in the 90s now, and can't stand it. I don't even know why I said that. Anyway. Welcome to the greatest show on YouTube. Picked up, now, alright, so I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and I'm a big Star Wars fan, alright? Who isn't, really? I mean, come on. And Family Guy did a, what is it called? Oh, my brain is just retiring. My brain's done. What the hell would this be called? They did an homage, or I don't know what you would call it, but they did like Family Guy versions of the original trilogy, right? So, Episode 4, New Hope, they call Blue Harvest, because if you didn't know, when they were filming the original, the first Star Wars movie, Episode 4, George Lucas, under the screenplay or whatever, from it was like what, the production company or the studio, they named it Blue Harvest. Like, I'm sure that's a common practice where directors and writers and blah blah producers like change the name of things they're filming so it doesn't get out, right? At least before the day and age of like mass media and social media and everything getting around the world in 2 seconds. Anyway, so this is on UMD. Universal Media Disc. I think that's what UMD stands for. That's a Sony format that they were pushing. It's like a mini disc in its own case. If you know what a click drive is, like I'm imagining it's probably a similar size, and clicks were in like their own case. This is a Nirvana disc. Plays on the PSP, which if you didn't know what a PSP looks like, I don't know why you wouldn't, but this is a PSP. Sony's first handheld they came out with. This is something I didn't sell. I actually stood in line in 14-degree weather on a Black Friday to get that for like $40 when they were going for like $150 back then. Anyway, long story short, I own this on DVD, but I thought it was cool they released this on UMD, and it's still sealed, and I'm not going to open it.
I just want to tell you both, good luck. We're all counting on you.
And not that it's going to just grow in value and I'll be able to retire and pay for my kids' college, but I just thought it was cool. Right? That's the only reason I do any of this, because I think it's cool, right? If I didn't think it was cool, I wouldn't do it. Picked up picked up The Last of Us Remastered on PS4. Let me shake it around some more so it gets all blurred and you don't know what I'm talking about. The PS4 version of the remastered The Last of Us, one of the best games, for sure, you could argue the best game on the PS3. Without a doubt. And it was at the end of the cycle, right? So so when a console first comes out, I know I'm really console and video game heavy in this episode, but just deal with it if you want to watch. If you don't, just watch someone else. So at the beginning of a console's lifestyle, developers, they've only had a few months to deal with it because they only get developers get development kits like maybe a year out if they're lucky to develop games for the new console, right? And it's new hardware. They got to figure out what they're doing. So like the games at the beginning of the launch cycle towards, as opposed to the games at the end of the console's lifespan can be night and day. And what they got out of the PS3 with that game is unreal. Like, they pushed that hardware to the limit. And it was a great looking game. And it was fantastic. One of the best storylines. It's had great gameplay, tight controls, just, man, you would get immersed in that story, in that game. That was, man, I mean, there's not very many games I can go back and play completely through. There's just not. There's some, but there's not. This is one of those games. Picked up Epic Mickey. I know this is old news, but I always wanted to play it, never had, so found it for a good price, bought it in great condition, complete in the box. And that's something else. I don't know if I talked about that, but games don't come with manuals anymore. Now, this is what you get. That's what you get for it's $60. If you get a AAA game, it's full price, $60. Unreal. Man, it just pisses me off, man. You used to get just games used to come with like feelies and like stickers and pins and it's crazy manuals, full color manuals and stuff. Now you don't get nothing. You get the disc. Everything's digital. If you want a manual, go download it. Go look it up. All right, but anyway, that's really about it. All I had to really talk about. Haven't been to the range in a while. I mean, it's been months now. I just don't. Honestly, I don't. I mean, okay. So I would say I don't have time, but man, I would rather spend my time doing other things now. Like, I want to get out to the range, don't get me wrong, but when I get days off, and during the summer, I get really crazy busy at work, and there are weeks where I get one day off, and working 10 to 12 hour days for 6 days a week. I make money, but when I have spare time, I'd rather spend it at home or doing something with the family. It's hard for me to, especially when it gets super hot. When it gets into the 90s and the heat indexes are over 100, it's just like, I don't know. I need to get back out there. I want to. There's a couple of videos I want to do. I want to do a tribute to the, not maybe a tribute, but I want to do like a KGB 65 video, like an homage to him. And speaking of that, what's going on with that guy? Does anyone know? I hope he's all right. I mean, it's been years since he's put a video out, and his channel's still up there. And I just hope he's all right. Really do. Miss that guy. But I mean, speaking of that, I don't even watch much gun stuff on YouTube anymore. I really don't. I mean, unless I need to find out something, or how do I take this down? I used to watch nonstop, it seems like, but I just don't do it anymore. Like I said, I got other things I want to do with my time. Oh yeah, I guess I almost forgot. Speaking of guns, picked up or received a US. Let's do this one over. Well, speaking of guns, I almost forgot, and if that jump cut wasn't jarring enough for you, I can do another one. A Henry U.S. survival rifle. This thing is super cool. It's the gun that's just in the stock, where you can keep it in the stock and it floats and all that stuff. They come in orange or black. And Man, the design's been around for a long time. It was what was it? Armalite's design. The AR-7 is actually what they called it, AR-7. So got one of those. Might do a video with it. Probably won't. I'm not gonna do a video with it. Well, maybe I will. I don't know. We'll just see. It's been in the box. Haven't even done anything with it. It's just been sitting here. Well, since I picked it up, we'll just talk about it real quick, and then I'll get off of here unless you guys get back to your lives. You need to own this. Everyone needs to own this. If you were a fan at all of Resident Evil growing up, and I've been with the series since the very get-go, man. That's actually a game I can still pick up and play now, even though it looks really rough. I mean, polygonal as hell. This is so good. This is what a reboot or this is more like a remake, not a reboot. This is how it's done, people. This is how it's done. Come on, man. It's so good. It's so good. That's all I gotta say about it. This is why I don't do reviews. I'm just like, oh, it's just great, get it. Or like, that's terrible, I hated it. But I can't tell you why. The graphics, fantastic. And the perspective hasn't changed a lot, but it's like they were able to mix that cinematic camera look that was just horrible. It was cool at the time, but it was really hard to control. You get used to it, but it was difficult. And combine that with like a modern over-the-shoulder third person. It's like they got the best of both worlds, and Capcom did a fantastic job with it. I mean, I could not have been happier with this. This is honestly one of my favorite Resident Evil games of all time now. And I wasn't a big fan of 2 originally. I remember me and my cousin rented it, and we beat it the first night. And after I played, it seemed like I played the original, which I still have over here, for like months. It was just a fantastic game. And the second one, it was good, but this is fantastic. Loved it. It's worth $60. Man, it's good. Anyway, take care, guys. Take care of your families. Do the right thing. Fight for your rights. I'll see you next time. That was weird.